everybody. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the living room. Welcome back to Sunday Show and Tell. Depending on how you look at Sunday, we've either closed out the second week of Retrotember or we are starting into the third week of Retrotember. Either way, we have a great show for you today. It's going to be a long one. A lot of it you've probably already seen on other channels, or even you watched the Fanstream yourself for Marvel Legends. That's going to take up the majority of the tail end of this episode, but we have a lot to get into, so let's just dive into it. Let's talk about our crowdfunders. There's only one to talk about, and it has finished, and that is the Hasbro Star Wars, the Vintage Collection, the LAATI. It has been successful. It didn't look like it was going to make it, but like I said, the Snowcat really didn't look like it was going to make it either. This did get funded. It did not hit all of its tiers. It closed out with 10,541 backers of the 8,000 needed. That got you the LAAT, and the first tier was unlocked. Jedi Master Coleman Trebor. I know I didn't pronounce that right. My apologies to Coleman. But this is what was unlocked. This is the Jedi Master that was unlocked. An exclusive card-backed figure. Apparently it is his first time in the Vintage Collection. And I won't be surprised, because if you notice, like, there's a couple of things. He has a cloth goods cape, and he has, like, his force-using hand. I won't be surprised if they're going to start doing things like that to get around being able to release these in the Vintage Collection, because they're not going to make new molds like this and only use it for the HasLabs. I mentioned this for the Rattler HasLab when we were talking about Baroness, that the new mold for Baroness is just too good to only have for the Rattler. And I really feel like we're going to get like a retro card figure of Baroness or another release of Baroness in like a first appearance type costume uniform. I feel like they'll do the same thing with these Vintage Collection HasLab stretch goals. Like, maybe it won't have, I don't know, does all the Vintage Collections have a cloth goods cape, or do they have some plastic? Or maybe it'll just come out without the cape and probably without like the force using hand. So I have a feeling that even if you didn't back this HasLab, and even if they didn't, and even though they didn't get to the other two tiers, which we're going to take a look at in a minute, I still feel like Coleman Trebor here will eventually make it to retail for the Vintage Collection. In addition to that, we have two other Jedi Masters that were part of this HasLab that did not make it, that did not get unlocked. I'm going to butcher both of these names. Sassy Tin, right here, and I feel like it'll be the same thing. He'll have maybe a different cloak. He'll have maybe a different force-using hand. I know I said cape before. I meant cloak. But he'll have a different cloak. Probably won't come with his force-using hand. And then Aegon Kolar right here was tier 3. Same thing. Willing to bet. Because, like, this guy right here, you need to, like, complete the team that went after Palpatine at the end of Revenge of the Sith. So I can't see them not releasing this guy for the Vintage Collection at some point. Once again, probably different robes. Won't have the force using hand. That's just what I think. So the LAAT was successful. Another successful HasLab, one that really came down to the wire. Probably put us over the top once they included like all of the overseas backers and they just dumped those all in. So it's pretty impressive that this at least got the first tier unlocked. And congratulations to all of the vintage collectors or Vintage Collection collectors out there. I hope you enjoy your LAAT. And I'm actually really looking forward to the unboxing video, because even though I don't collect the Vintage Collection, I do think this looks really cool, especially with those interchangeable like painted plates like World War II bombers. This next one, I'm really not sure if this is new or if this has been around for a while and I just missed it, but Loose Collector has put up for pre-order Lady Death once again. Now, previously she was sold out, and I wasn't able to get a Lady Death because I do like this rendition of Death. I like the comic series from Coffin Comics. I think this is a great version of Lady Death. And I wasn't real big on the all gold, sort of gold angel version of Lady Death that is recently come out. But this version, the classic version of her, is up for pre-order. Again, I'm assuming this is a re-release of the original. She comes with an alternate set of hands, her Hell Scythe, her Deathbringer sword. She has a removable cape. It doesn't say whether it's plastic or cloth goods, but looking at the photos here, and the cape is always basically in the same position, and just my previous experience with Loose Collector, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that this is just a plastic cape, that it's not soft goods. It is what it is. Now, the price on this is $76.49. That is including the tariff surcharge. So it's actually not that bad. I think the First Lady Death was around $69.99. So this is going up by, what, roughly $7, which is still pretty much a price hike. But when you compare it to the cost of some of the other Loose Collector figures that are coming out, like the Rob Liefeld Extreme Universe figures, they're up around like $85 a figure. So $76.49 for Lady Death here isn't that bad. Pre-order now. Only saw it on Big Bad Toy Store. Not sure if you can get it on Loose Collector's website, but an ETA of November 2025, so that's right around the corner. Factory Entertainment is at it again. They are the ones that gave us the foam rubber LARP Masters of the Universe power swords. We had He-Man, we had Skeletor, we had Faker, and then we had a black Anti-Eternia He-Man. Well, now we have the axes, and the axes actually look really cool. We have He-Man with his silver axe right here, which this looks really cool. I love the shading they did along the blade to kind of make it look like the blade has a bit of an edge to it. I dig that. That looks really cool. And then we also got Skeletor's purple axe right here, which I think he only used in the cartoon. I don't think he had a version of this in the comics or the mini comics. There have been a few Skeletor figures, like the new Eternia Battle Armor Skeletor came with a battle axe. So it's cool that they're acknowledging that and giving us, you know, Skeletor's purple axe. Doesn't have that same edged look that the He-Man axe has. As a matter of fact, the purple one does look more like a toy than the silver one does. But we're getting these two. You know they're going to reuse these molds. You know we're going to get Fakers. You know we're going to get Anti-Eternia. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that used this battle axe, because I think that for some reason I'm picturing one in blue, and I can't remember why, but I do remember this axe in blue. Both of them look really good. They're grown-up versions of those toys. If you take a look at this picture right here with the dude holding it, you can see there is some size, some mass to it. They are $89.99, $90 each, substantially more than the swords, even after the price increase after the tariffs. So they are substantially more. Their ETA is January of 2026. Now, speaking of roleplay items, that takes us right into the next segment of our show today, and this is going to be the long one, and that is going over the Hasbro Marvel Legends Fanstream. And yes, I know everyone and their mother has gone over this, but hey, who am I if not someone to jump on the bandwagon? But really, this pretty much dominated the toy conversation for the week, was the big Marvel Legends reveals. So first of all, we're going to be taking a look at the Wolverine mask right here. This is currently up for pre-order. It is $99 with an ETA of November 2025. It has a great look. It is a copy of the Wolverine mask from Deadpool and Wolverine. From what they said on the fan stream, they were even given movie prop replicas, or not replicas, but they were given movie props that they were able to scan and make this out of. So this is probably as close to screen accurate as we're going to get, which is very cool. Something else that's very cool, the packaging art right here, that's Dwight. That's really awesome, I think. Like, Dwight, he looks great wearing it. That is a great, like, roaring face. Kudos, Dwight. Good job. The other one that they announced for the roleplay items was the Daredevil mask and baton. And the baton does separate so that you have one long, like, billy club that can break down into two batons right there, which is really cool. There's no rope connecting them or anything like that. That's kind of a bummer, but you could always attach something if you want to. That is not out yet. They said it will be a pre-order or it will be a see now, buy now depending on where you get it, come September 16th. So this coming Tuesday. And that's not the first time we're going to hear see now, buy now. Some of Hasbro's stuff is going that way for what we're about to talk about. And I don't know if that's going to be a new trend or if that's just the way things go with everything that's been going on with shipments coming over. Some things are going up for pre-order. Some things were supposed to go on pre-order, but now they have them in stock, so they're just selling it. Don't know what the story is behind that, but a lot of this stuff is going to be pre-order. And I think there's going to be like 2 or 3 other things we're going to talk about in this episode that's going to be see now, buy now. But the Daredevil mask, pre-order or see now, buy now, depending on where you're ordering it from, September 16th, this coming Tuesday, available on Hasbro Pulse and Fan Channel release. No prices as of yet, but considering the Wolverine mask was $100, $99.99, I'm going to guess that the Daredevil mask with the batons is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $150. That's just my guess, nothing official on that. I honestly didn't bother to look up to see if anybody had a price on it, but ETA, I guess it's really going to depend on where you buy it, because some places are going to be in stock and you're going to get it now. Other places it's going to be up for pre-order. Don't know when that's going to be coming in. So come September 16th, like I said, this coming Tuesday, which is going to be a release date for a lot of stuff we're about to talk about, we'll find out. Now, Marvel Legends had their fan stream, and they talked about a lot of stuff. It was actually really impressive how much stuff they talked about and how much stuff is getting released throughout the rest of the year. Sometimes I get a little envious of Marvel Legends because they really put the stuff out there, and I feel like Classified doesn't do as much all at once. Instead, they spread it out over the year. So like the Marvel Legends fan streams really seem far more impressive than the Classified series fan streams do. But let's dive into this because there's a lot to talk about on the Marvel Legends side. The first thing we're going to be talking about is the New York Comic Con Fall Con MCM London exclusive Super Skrull. A lot of people aren't really impressed by this. I don't want to say upset by it, but like this is just one of those because this is basically a reuse of the previous, I believe, Build-A-Figure Super Skrull, just with some new paint apps. And there's no representation of the Invisible Woman, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, when you take a look at the packaging, this is an homage to the collector's card, just like Death's Head was last year. And on that collector's card, there was no Invisible Woman parts on the Super Skrull. His legs were on fire and he was flying. He had the Thing Fist, and I think the Thing Fist was flaming, or was it the Big Bendy Fist was flaming? Either way, he had what you see here, except the arms were swapped on the card. This is what it is. So basically, this is just the Build-A-Figure repainted and in new packaging. Don't know what the price is going to be on it yet. Nothing official from Hasbro yet. Like I said, it's going to be the New York Comic Con exclusive, MCM London, and like basically the fall convention, that if you go to a fall convention and Marvel Legends team is there, they'll have this for sale. And then once Super Skrull is done with his world tour, he's going to come back. And because there is no 1027 and there's no PulseCon this year, it's just going to be put up for sale. See now, buy now, I guess. The remaining stock on Hasbro Pulse. Now I'm hoping this is going to be another situation like Death's Head, where Death's Head is actually still available for sale. It went up for sale on Hasbro Pulse after he did his world tour, and he came back, and he was a Pulse exclusive for a while, but then he was available on like Big Bad and Entertainment Earth. So I'm really hoping that's going to be the same thing for this, for anybody that wants it. And honestly, there doesn't seem to be as big of a clamor for this one as there was for Death's Head. I remember last year when Death's Head came out, people were losing their noggins over Death's Head. I'm actually surprised I haven't bought one myself yet, because I did love that rendition of Death's Head. But speaking of Death's Head, how many times can I say Death's Head? Death's Head is on sale, on fall clearance sale right now on Big Bad Toy Store, so there is a price reduction in that. So I will leave a link to him in the description below while we're talking about him. But back to Super Skrull, because he's the man of the hour. Like I said, Pulse exclusive when he goes up for sale, and maybe later Big Bad and Entertainment Earth, just like the one before him did. I like the idea of the collector card packaging right here. I think that's cool. I think that's a very unique wave, and it's not one that you need to put a bunch out. It's just a nice touch, especially if you're going to be doing something like this where it's just a repaint. And I think they make good display pieces for in-box collectors. I think that would be really cool. I kind of hope this trend continues, that we get one like every year. That would be awesome. Now, we also have something from the animated series line, Spider-Man the Animated Series, Mysterio right here. The animated series accurate look means that he has a smooth suit instead of that quilted look that Mysterio typically has. He comes with pinkish, purplish, like illusion effects, which we've seen before on other Mysterios, but they were more of like an eerie green smoke type effect. Here, they are very bright, as was the cartoon. He has a new dome that comes off, and he has, for the first time, a proper Quentin Beck head, which they said this is the first time they've given like a true Quentin Beck head on a Marvel Legends. I'm assuming when they say true, they mean true to like the animation, because didn't the MCU one come with Quentin Beck? But then again, that wasn't really Quentin. That was just, what's his name? Whose name I can't remember right now. So I'm actually kind of surprised it's the first time they've given him a head, because I do know other versions of Mysterio have had the dome pop off, and there's been sort of like a ghost skull that you could pop on there. He is going to be a Walmart Collector Con exclusive, which means he is available for pre-order on 10/10 of next month, October 10th. So now we also know when the next Walmart Collectors Con is going to be. Hey everybody, Walmart Fall Collector Con is coming in October on October 10th. Woo. So we have that. We know that for a fact. No price on this, but I mean, it's going to be the $27.99, like all the single figures are now from Hasbro. That leads us into our 2-packs. We have a couple. We have 3 of them, actually. We have a Star Fox and Champion 2-pack, which, from what Dwight said, this is the first time in the 6-inch scale that we're getting a classic Champion. And not a Marvel Legends collector. I do admire it from afar, but this Champion just screams like classic Kirby Marvel Cosmic right there. I dig that. Like, if I was collecting Marvel Legends, I think this would be one of the must-haves for me, just because I love that old classic Marvel Cosmic storytelling, art style, the whole shebang. That looks really awesome. That will be a fan channel release, and pre-orders are going up on October 2nd. I'm very curious why they staggered the pre-orders like they did for these. The next 2-pack we're going to be talking about, which I know some people are very excited about, because we get Deathbird and an update of Gladiator. Deathbird is definitely doing the heavy lifting on this 2-pack. She looks awesome. I love that cape. Seriously, she looks fantastic. Gladiator, once again, not being a Marvel Legends collector, but Gladiator, from what I understand, is a new character, but it's basically like a kit bash of new parts put together to make a new figure. So like the torso, arms, and legs might be all coming from different figures, and they sort of just slapped it together to make Gladiator. Don't quote me on that. I believe that's what I've been hearing. Like I said, not a Marvel Legends collector, but an update of Gladiator I think kind of was needed, because if I'm not mistaken, I think the old version of Gladiator was actually kind of scrawny, and this definitely beefs him up a little. This goes up for pre-order on 9/18. Once again, that is this coming Tuesday, time that you're watching this. So later this week, they'll be going up for pre-order, fan channel release. The next 2-pack, they're really diving into the Gamerverse this year. We have the Nick Fury and Punisher Gamerverse 2-pack. Now, these guys came from the Sega Genesis game The Punisher, and I'm sure everybody has noticed that during these fan streams, when they're talking about the Gamerverse figures, they're not actually telling you what game they came from. And I gotta think that there's some legal reason they can't just say, well, this came from Marvel vs. Capcom, this came from Marvel vs., this came from The Punisher. There's got to be some reason they're not allowed to say, whether legal or Hasbro reasons, what game they came from. But this set looks really good. It looks pretty cool. There are lots of accessories for this 2-pack. So many accessories that a G.I. Joe classified collector could find use for pretty much everything in this pack. This version of Nick Fury I've never seen before except in that game. So I don't know how excited people are about this version of Nick Fury, but there was one thing that I thought of, that if you take this version of Nick Fury and then use this brown hair and brown bearded head from the Operation Monster Force, the General figure, this is one of the optional heads, and you take that head with that body and you put them together, you could have a really cool looking Joe Colton figure for your classified line. Just saying. Not saying to run out and start buying up the 2-pack just for that, Kit Bash Joe Colton. But I might be running out and picking up this 2-pack to make a Kit Bash Joe Colton, because I do have the General coming. This is going to be I lost my place on the script. Pre-orders start September 25th, so we have a little bit more time before that happens. And that is going to be a fan channel release as well. Now, the last of the one-offs that they announced is Secret Wars Iceman. And this is the only Secret Wars figure that they announced, although they did say there is more Secret Wars coming. I might have to start buying Secret Wars because I was a huge fan of that comic line. I really liked these figures, the Marvel Legends figures that they made prior to Iceman. I just haven't picked any up yet. And also, like, I collected the old Secret Wars line, so it would be really cool to, like, pick that torch up and start running with it. Might have to go back and snag up all of the old ones. My worry was it was just going to be that wave and then nothing else, but it seems like they are going to be carrying this on. This Iceman looks really cool. Not really translucent, but a very frosty, snowy look to him. I dig it. I love the effects that come with him. I've lost my place. Okay, yeah, they said there's more Secret Wars coming. My guess is going to be this is going to be the standard $27.99 for the new price point. Now, when Secret Wars came out, Pulse still had the Secret Wars character at the standard rate, but like Entertainment Earth and Big Bad, for whatever reason, had them for $1 more. So if you get it from Big Bad and Entertainment Earth, it might be $28.99 versus $27.99. This is going to be a fan channel release, and pre-orders for him will go up October 7th, so we have even longer to wait. And then that takes us into the big wave release. Okay, we had to put a cut in there because I needed a break from talking all this time. So, Mini Comic Wave 2 has released. I guess they're just taking this mini comic thing and running with it because it doesn't look like they're doing Build-A-Figures anymore. So in place of that, they're doing the mini comics, and that is what is going to tie these waves together now instead of the Build-A-Figure. It also looks like they might be going to all of the figures being on these retro cards. If I missed that they were made that official announcement, sorry about that, but it does look like all of these single release figures are going to be on like a retro card release, which I'm cool with. I think that looks really cool. I think that's a nice touch. And it probably saves them on packaging costs. So Mini Comic Wave 2 is actually available now at all retailers, Hasbro Pulse, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. As always, links to everything in the show notes below. And they are all released at the new price point of $27.99. What's nice about this now is that since it's not a Build-A-Figure wave, and you don't need all of the figures to complete the Build-A-Figure. And this wave really varies from Avengers to X-Men to Cosmic, that you can pick and choose. And like there's no need to complete the wave like if it was a Build-A-Figure. So at the new price point, it's nice that you can just be like, okay, that's cool, but I don't need that. I'm not going to get that. And I have a feeling there are a lot of figures in this wave that some people are like, hey, that's a really cool update, or I'm good with the one that I have. And the first thing we're going to jump into, and I can see people saying I'm cool with the one that I have, is Beast in his astonishing X-Men costume, which is absolutely Beast's worst costume. Sorry, Beast fans, that looks bad. He does have the more like cat-like face to him, which also right there I was never a big fan of. But if you are an astonishing X-Men fan and you're trying to complete the team, this is definitely a must-have. The next one is another one that I could see people saying, nah, I'm good with, especially since we've received numerous releases of her lately, and that is Black Widow. Now, this is Black Widow in her gray suit, and this is basically a re-release of a Walmart exclusive from, what, 5 years ago? I have that Black Widow figure, that Walmart exclusive. I really liked her. I liked her so much, in fact, there's the short right there, but I also, too much liked. I also used the face on her, the head sculpt on her, to replace my CoverGirl right here, which I think this looks fantastic. Honestly, like, I really like this head sculpt on this body. I think this is a great look for CoverGirl. So the Walmart exclusive, ironically enough, I actually just saw a bunch of them available at RetroCon, and they're only selling for like 30 bucks. So those are still available if you're interested in that. This is $27.99. It's built on the new female buck with all of the articulation that you could want. My only experience with this is the Psylocke figure that came out in the Gamerverse 2-pack. Where am I? This is definitely better than the Walmart exclusive, mainly because pinless and the articulation. The Walmart exclusive figure, as much as I liked her, was built on that old body that was like just really stiff, didn't have a whole lot of articulation, single jointed elbows, virtually nothing in the waist, just the upper torso, like sort of dumbbell movement, legs that really couldn't do much of anything, and a figure that really never looked like it was in a comfortable, natural pose. This is definitely a big upgrade. I just wish that she came with maybe her leather jacket. The Walmart exclusive had like sort of like a leather bomber jacket on, ironically, much like CoverGirl here. Had like a leather bomber jacket on along with a jetpack. Don't care if the jetpack isn't here. Would have been cool if they could have somehow put a jacket on her, maybe with interchangeable arms. New body, new design, has a big Black Widow logo on her back. The face sculpt, the head sculpt, seems to be the same as the one I just showed you. The only difference is if you take a look at this, I feel like this hair is a much brighter red than this hair, where this is really more of like an auburn. Also, I feel like there's more detail with this one from the Walmart exclusive than there is right here, because I don't think this has like the black wash to help bring out the detail. So the face sculpt is the same, but there are subtle differences that I still like this one better than that one. Although I think that one is a really cool figure. And if you don't have the Walmart exclusive and you've been wanting a gray costume Black Widow, that's the way to go. Something else that's different about this one is that the smoking stingers that she has like red with black translucent plastic, whereas the Walmart exclusive just had the clear translucent plastic. The next up that we have for the mini comic wave 2 is Daredevil in his civvies. This has a name. I think this is just called Man Without Fear. Not a big fan of this. Doesn't really do much for me. Daredevil fans, I'm sure, are over the moon about this because I think this might be the first time we've seen this version of it. It's okay. I mean, it looks cool. It's just not me. Of course, I was never really a big Daredevil fan to begin with. What would have been cool is if we could have gotten an unmasked head with this, like an unmasked Matt Murdock, maybe with just his sunglasses on. And then you could have just like used this as like a dude in a sweatsuit, in a tracksuit, a background character, or maybe a thug or something. That would have been cool. Next up, we have Feral, which once again, I know there are a lot of people that are really ramped up to get Feral right here. I think this is the first release of Feral like this that will complete New Mutants and or X-Force right there. They made a really big deal to mention that her mini comic has a wraparound cover on it, so there's printing on the front and the back, because X-Force #1, which she is based off of, was also a wraparound cover. Poor Feral, unfortunately, in the comics, she's dead. Again. Feral like even in the 90s, I feel like they were never really sure what to do with Feral. Like she was kind of cool as a New Mutant. When they switched over to X-Force, for some reason she didn't really seem to fit in. They didn't really know what to do with her, and then they turned her into like a villain type character. And I don't know if that was always the plan or if it was just like we got nothing else to do with her, and then she died, and then she came back in Krakoa, and now she's dead again. I think a nuclear meltdown is what did her in. Now, I was never a fan of Excalibur. Not that I didn't like it, I just didn't read it. But one thing that I've always thought, Rachel Summers as the Phoenix looked fantastic. That was such a unique, and especially like for the time, the mid to early or the mid to late 80s, that was such an edge look for a hero with the all black, basically like almost like black or all body red leather look with the spikes up the front and up the arms, that hound face, the flame effects on her arms. Like, this was a fantastic character design. It's still a fantastic character design. And this figure looks awesome. Like, I don't collect X-Men. I've told you numerous times in this show, I don't collect Marvel Legends, but part of me is like, get that figure. That figure is awesome. I love the look of this. The flame effects are beautiful. The hound's face is fantastic. I would have dug it a little more if they would have given her the mullet instead of the ponytail, but both of them are very cool. Also, imagine this figure with the flame effects and then put her in the Phoenix Force stand that came with Jean Grey last year. That is a complete display. Like, I feel like that is why the Phoenix Force head can turn, because when she would call on the Phoenix Force, the Phoenix was always like sort of like looking off to the right whenever you would see it like whoop, up around her. So her in that Phoenix Force display with her own flame effects, I think that would be a really, really cool display. And then the next one that we're going to talk about, which is one that I probably will be getting, is a new Silver Surfer. I'm a big fan of the Silver Surfer, and honestly, this might be the best one that they've released so far. From what I have gathered, from what has been said, this is basically a pinless reissue of the Silver Surfer that came with the HasLab Galactus figure. And with all that shine, the look, that classic Norrinrad look, I think he would look fantastic next to the First Steps Silver Surfer, which I still haven't gotten, and I want to get her as well. I think those two would look fantastic together. Unfortunately, he comes with a mini comic and not the flight stand like the First Steps Silver Surfer did. But if that board fits in that stand, I would definitely be trying to find like someone on eBay that like is selling that stand so that I could like have the two of them sort of like flying off together, maybe in opposite directions. I think that would look really cool. I probably am going to be getting this guy right here. And believe it or not, that is it for the Marvel Legends fan stream. Like I said, taking up the majority of the episode. But wait, there's one more thing to talk about. I finally get to talk about some G.I. Joe Classified again. So on Instagram, probably other socials too, but Instagram is really the only one that I pay attention to, Hasbro announced that the Legacy ESU Police Officer is coming. According to the post, it will be available in physical and online retailers in the coming weeks. There's no hard date, and it doesn't sound like it's a pre-order. It sounds like it's going to be see now, buy now. It seems like it came over on the boat, the figures are stateside, and they're going to go up for sale. This is cool. I'm happy about this. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be happy about this. Something that seems to have changed that I particularly am a big fan of, when they first released the images of the police officer, it looked like they gave him the double barrel assault rifle for his main weapon. I wasn't a big fan of that, but in these pictures, it looks like they're giving him the drum loaded shotgun, which I think is cool. I feel like that's more in line with the figure that they were designing here. So I like that change right there. And they still think the body is a bit of a mistake. Maybe not the torso, not the buck, but the arms. Because like the sleeves come down and then there's like just like black right here. And that just looks kind of ugly. Like, is that supposed to be like an undershirt shirt that he's wearing, is that supposed to be like armored arm guards or something? Because they say police on them. I don't know. Like, I get why you took it all the way to the hands, because with the way the figure is designed, like all of the other legacy figures like this, you got two face sculpts, one white guy, one black guy. So you have to cover up as much skin as you can so that you can do the head swaps and, you know, have them work, have both heads work on the same body. But I wish they would have just found a buck, and I know they could have found one where the sleeve just went all the way to the wrist instead of doing that, just like that black part right in there. That just looks weird. It doesn't really work for me, but I'm still going to be grabbing this guy. My grandfather was the chief of police where I grew up. I would love to be able to put like the, I think it's like an 8-point hat on him and just sort of make him like a beat cop, just because that's what my grandfather was. I mean, he's still going to have the vest with the mic right here, because that does take place of like the car CBs. That's the more modern version of that. So I'm cool with that. But yeah, I'm probably even going to try and find like some little thing to use as a ticket pad for him or something. I don't know. But I think that's going to be very cool. I'm looking forward to this. When it finally releases and is for sale, I will try to let you know as soon as I can. And I'm excited about this. We have the fireman. I think I have him here. Hold on. Yeah, I have the fireman right here that we still have to open up. Maybe this month. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not... Whoop, focus. I'm not really sure if he's in... If I be able to fit him into the schedule for Retrotember, but I'm going to try. And so we're going to get him. Then we'll have the police officer. Hopefully we'll get a paramedic. I don't know if we would have a fourth one, because the first wave of this came in 4s with Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. This would be, what? Fire, police, paramedic. I don't know if there would be a fourth one. Who am I missing? I don't think I'm missing anybody, but let me know what you think, if they would be able to do a fourth one. I really want to get this guy open. I think this would be cool. These civilian ones, like the military ones, I only took one of because I was shoehorning them into G.I.Joe. But these civilian ones, I'm thinking I might buy like multiples and sort of like army build these civilian groups, just because like you could have one with like that face sculpt, you could have one with that face sculpt, then you could have a couple where they're wearing the masks so you can't tell they're the same face sculpts. Like I think that would be a really cool touch. We'll have to wait and see what I come up with. Things are sliding. And that's really all I get to talk about for G.I.Joe Classified today. It was a very long episode. Thank you for sticking around this long. When New York Comic Con happens, so is Cold Slither going to happen. They are going to New York for New York Comic Con. The same band that played at San Diego Comic Con is coming to the East Coast. They are going to be playing at the Gramercy Theater in New York when Comic Con is going on. Tickets are on sale now. I will leave a link to the Ticketmaster page in the show notes below. Tickets are ranging anywhere from $45 to $127, which is still pricey, but not nearly as expensive as I thought they were going to try and make them. I'm guessing it's because they're not really like a big known band. It's something Hasbro put together that after New York Comic Con, that'll probably be it. And maybe they'll bring them in at some other events. We'll have to wait and see. It'd be really cool if they put out a music video for Cold Slither. Just saying. Also, at the end of the Marvel Fanstream, things on set were kind of going left and some stuff was getting dropped and they were trying to like get things together. And Dan said, this is what happens when it's just the two of us. And he kind of said it in what I took to be like kind of a little snarky tone to his voice. Was that a dig at Ryan getting let go a few months ago? I don't know. I think it was. Don't touch that dial. Before you go, please remember to do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, subscribe. If you already are a subscriber, what a legend you are. If you like what we do here and you want to help the channel grow, please consider becoming a member, whether through YouTube memberships or our Coffee monthly subscription. Links to that in the description below. Both of them for $1 a month, you can get access to exclusive content, such as our monthly member exclusive video. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.